Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting lesson right here on English in Fluency. I am your host, Alex, and I am so happy to see you all here today. We have a really special and very useful topic for you today. I know that many of you struggle with this specific situation in real life. You know when someone asks you to do something, maybe to go to a party or to have dinner, and you want to say no, but you do not want to be rude? Or maybe you want to invite someone, but you are afraid they will misunderstand you? Well, today is all about solving that problem. We are going to dive deep into B1 English listening practice, focusing entirely on understanding invitations and how to refuse them politely. We are going to follow some friends through their daily lives and see exactly how they handle these social English situations. It is going to be fun. It is going to be very natural. And by the end of this, you will feel much more confident speaking to people in English. So, get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let us get started. Imagine a lovely, sunny afternoon in a small, friendly town. The weather is perfect, with a clear blue sky and a gentle breeze blowing through the trees. In the center of this town, there is a popular little coffee shop called the Cozy Corner. This is where our story begins today. We have two friends, Sarah and Ben, who have met there to catch up and enjoy their afternoon. Sarah is a very energetic and outgoing person who loves organizing events, while Ben is a bit more laid back, but always friendly. They are sitting at a small round table near the window, sipping their hot drinks. Sarah has a big smile on her face because she has an idea she wants to share with Ben. She leans forward slightly to get his attention and asks him if he would like to go to a new art exhibition that is opening in the city this Friday evening. Now, listen closely to how Sarah phrases this. She does not just say, "Come to the art show." That sounds a little too direct, maybe even a bit bossy. Instead, she uses a much softer and more polite structure. She says, "Hey Ben, I was thinking, would you like to check out that new art exhibition with me this Friday evening? I heard it is supposed to be really amazing." This is a classic B1 level invitation. She starts with a friendly greeting. She softens the question with, "I was thinking," and then she uses the phrase, "Would you like to?" This is the gold standard for polite invitations. It gives the other person a choice. It shows that you respect their time. Notice also that she adds a reason at the end, "I heard it is supposed to be really amazing," which makes the invitation sound more appealing. Ben thinks about it for a moment. He takes a sip of his coffee and looks out the window. He does not have any plans yet, and he actually enjoys art sometimes. He wants to accept the invitation, but he also wants to sound enthusiastic and not just say a boring yes. So, he replies with a bright tone, "You know what, Sarah? That sounds like a fantastic idea. I would love to go. I haven't been to an exhibition in ages, so it would be a nice change of scenery." This is a great example of a polite and enthusiastic acceptance. He starts by validating her idea, saying it sounds fantastic. Then he uses the key phrase, "I would love to go." In spoken English, this often sounds like, "I'd love to go." It is much stronger and warmer than just saying yes. He also adds a personal reason why he wants to go, which keeps the conversation flowing naturally. Sarah is visibly happy that he agreed. She claps her hands together lightly and says, "Oh, that is great news. I was hoping you would say yes. It is always more fun to look at art with a friend. We can maybe grab some dinner afterwards too, if you are up for it. Here, Sarah is building on the successful invitation. She expresses her happiness and then adds a second, smaller invitation or suggestion about dinner. She uses the phrase, "if you are up for it," which is a very casual and friendly way to ask if someone is interested or has enough energy to do something. It takes the pressure off. Ben nods and smiles, saying, "Yeah, grabbing dinner sounds perfect. I know a great Italian place just around the corner from the gallery." This shows how the conversation continues naturally after the invitation is accepted. However, life is not always about saying yes to everything. Sometimes we really want to, or we have to, say no. This is where many English learners feel nervous. You do not want to hurt the other person's feelings, right? Let us stay in the cozy corner coffee shop for a moment. Just as Sarah and Ben are finishing their conversation, another friend walks in. This is Chloe. Chloe is a very busy woman who works a lot and studies in the evenings. She looks a little tired, but she smiles when she sees her friends. She joins them at the table, carrying a large bag of books. Sarah, being the organizer that she is, immediately turns to Chloe and invites her to a different event. Sarah leans over and says, "Hi, Chloe. It is so good to see you. Listen, a group of us are planning a hiking trip to the mountains on Saturday. We are going to leave early in the morning to catch the sunrise. Would you like to come with us? It will be so beautiful and refreshing." Now, this is a lovely invitation, but let us look at Chloe's situation. She is tired, she has a lot of books, and she probably has work to do. She needs to say no, but how does she do it without being rude? She does not just say, "No, I cannot go." That sounds too cold. Instead, she uses the soft refusal technique. Chloe sighs gently and gives Sarah an apologetic smile. She says, "Oh, Sarah, that sounds absolutely wonderful. I would really love to see the sunrise from the mountains." Notice this important first step. She starts by saying something positive. She validates the invitation. She says it sounds wonderful, and that she would love to go. This softens the blow of the refusal that is coming next. Then she delivers the no, gently but clearly. She continues, saying, "Unfortunately, I have a huge deadline at work on Monday, and I really need to spend the whole weekend preparing for it. So, I won't be able to make it this time." Here we see the word "unfortunately." This is a great word to use when you are refusing something. It shows that you are sorry about it. She also gives a clear reason: the work deadline. This helps the other person understand that it is not personal. She just has a valid commitment. Sarah understands completely. She nods and says, "Oh, I totally understand, Chloe. Work comes first. Don't worry about it. Maybe next time." This is the ideal response to a polite refusal. You accept it without making the person feel guilty. Chloe then adds something very important to keep the friendship strong. She says, "I really appreciate you asking me, though. I hope you guys have a fantastic time. Please take lots of photos." This is called leaving the door open. Even though she cannot go this time, she shows interest in their happiness and maintains the social bond. This is a key part of social English. It is not just about the event, it is about the relationship. Let us move to a different scene now to explore more ways of handling these situations. We are now in a shared office space. It is a Tuesday morning, and people are working on their computers. We have two colleagues, David and Emily. David is a friendly guy who likes to socialize after work, and Emily is focused on her job but polite to everyone. David stands up from his desk and walks over to Emily's desk to ask her a question. He wants to invite her to a networking event later that evening. David taps lightly on the edge of her desk and asks, "Hey, Emily, do you have a minute?" Emily looks up from her screen, takes off her glasses, and smiles. "Sure, David. What is up?" she asks. David then proceeds with his invitation. "Well, there is this business mixer happening at the Grand Hotel tonight. A lot of people from our industry are going to be there. I was wondering if you would like to join me. It could be a good chance to meet some new clients." This is a more formal type of invitation because it is work-related. David uses the phrase, "I was wondering if you would like to join me." This is very polite and professional. It is perfect for a B1 level speaker in a semi-formal situation. Emily thinks about it for a second. She likes her job, but she has had a very long week, and she is feeling exhausted. She just wants to go home and relax. She needs to refuse David, but since they are colleagues, she has to be professional about it. She cannot just say, "No, I am tired." She needs a slightly better reason or a more professional way to phrase it. So, she puts her glasses back on and says, "Thank you for asking me, David. That sounds like a really valuable opportunity." Again, she starts with the positive validation. Then she moves to the refusal. "However, I have had quite a long week, and I promised myself I would go straight home and rest tonight. So, I will have to pass on the mixer, but I hope you have a great time." David smiles and nods. He is not offended at all. He says, "No problem at all, Emily. We all need rest sometimes. I will let you know if I hear about any other events coming up." This is a perfect example of a professional refusal. Emily used the phrase, "I will have to pass," which is a very common idiomatic way to say no in English. It means you are choosing not to do something this time, but you are not rejecting the person forever. It is soft, firm, and polite. Now, let us look at a slightly trickier situation. Sometimes you might want to say yes, but you are not sure if you can. You need to check your schedule first. This is called a tentative response. You do not say yes, and you do not say no. You say maybe. Let us go back to our friends in the town. We are now in a park on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Two friends, Jason and Lisa, are sitting on a bench watching children play. Jason has a frisbee in his hand, and he is feeling energetic. He wants to play a game or go for a run. Jason turns to Lisa and says, "Lisa, the weather is way too good to just sit here. A bunch of us are planning to play volleyball on the beach in about an hour. Do you want to come with us? It will be a blast." Lisa looks at him. She loves volleyball, but she is waiting for an important phone call from her mother. She does not know if the phone call will take 5 minutes or 2 hours. She cannot commit to going right now. So, she uses a check-in availability phrase. Lisa replies, "Oh, volleyball sounds like so much fun, Jason. I really want to go." She shows enthusiasm. Then she explains her hesitation. "I am actually waiting for a call from my mom, so I am not sure what time I will be free. Let me check my schedule and get back to you in a bit. Is that okay?" This is a brilliant way to handle uncertainty. She does not leave him hanging completely, but she also does not make a promise she might break. The key phrase here is, "get back to you." This means, "I will contact you later with an answer." Jason is completely cool with that. He says, Yeah, for sure. Just text me when you know. If you can make it, great. If not, no worries. This is the relaxed, friendly attitude that makes social English easier. Lisa feels comfortable because she did not feel pressured to say yes immediately. This is a very important skill for you to learn. Do not be afraid to ask for time to think. It is much better than saying yes and then canceling later. We should also talk about what happens when the invitation is very casual. In English, we often reduce the grammar and shorten our words when we are talking to close friends. For example, instead of, "Would you like to go to the cinema?" we might say, "Do you want to catch a movie?" Or even, "Want to see a film?" Let us listen in on a phone conversation between two best friends, Mike and Tom. They are very young and very casual with each other. Mike is calling Tom while walking down the street. The phone rings, and Tom picks up. "Hello?" Tom says. Mike speaks loudly and happily. "Hey, Tom, it is Mike. Listen, I am bored. Do you want to come over and play some video games? I just got that new racing game we talked about." This is a very direct, very casual invitation. There is no, "I was wondering," or "Would you like?" It is just, "Do you want to?" or "Do you wanna?" This is fine, because they are close friends. Tom laughs on the other end of the line. He is actually at the grocery store with his mom, so he cannot leave right now. He says, "Ah, man, I really want to play that game. But I am stuck at the grocery store with my mom right now. We have a million things to buy. I cannot really leave." Notice how Tom says, "Ah, man." This is a very common expression of disappointment among friends. He explains the situation simply. "I can't really leave." It is honest and direct, but because they are friends, it is not rude. Mike understands immediately. He says, "No worries, dude. Family first. How about later tonight? Maybe around 8? Tom thinks for a second. "Yeah, tonight works. I should be done by then. Just text me when you are ready." Mike says, "Awesome. See you later, Tom." "See ya," Tom replies, and they hang up. This conversation shows how quickly and easily invitations and refusals can happen when you are comfortable with the language. It is not about being formal all the time. It is about matching the situation. Now, let us look at a situation where you might need to refuse an invitation because you have already promised to do something else. This is very common. You are double booked. Let us imagine a dinner party scenario. Our host is a woman named Rachel. She has cooked a delicious meal and invited a few friends over. One of her friends, named John, calls her to say he cannot come. Rachel answers the phone with a cheerful voice. "Hello?" John sounds a bit flustered on the other end. He says, "Hi, Rachel. It is John. Listen, I am so sorry, but I will not be able to make it to dinner tonight." Rachel pauses, waiting to hear why. John continues, "I completely forgot that I promised my sister I would help her move some furniture into her new apartment tonight. She really needs my help, and I feel terrible canceling on you." This is a very polite refusal. John apologizes twice. He says, "I am so sorry," and "I feel terrible." He also explains that he has a previous commitment to his family. Rachel is a good friend, so she is understanding. She says, "Oh, John, please do not worry about it. Family is important. We can do dinner another time when you are less busy. Give your sister my best." John feels relieved that she is not angry. He says, "You are the best, Rachel. Thank you for understanding. I owe you one." The phrase, "I owe you one," is a great idiom. It means, "I am in your debt. I will do something nice for you in the future to make up for this." It helps repair the social damage of canceling. Rachel laughs and says, "Okay, I will hold you to that. Have a good night moving furniture." This shows that the relationship is still strong. Sometimes you might be the one receiving an invitation that you simply do not want to accept, but you do not have a specific excuse, like work or family. Maybe you just do not like the activity, or you are too tired and want to stay home. In this case, you can use a vague but polite excuse. You do not have to lie, but you can be general. For example, imagine a neighbor named Steve asks another neighbor, Anna, to go to a karaoke night. Anna hates singing in public. It makes her very nervous. Steve knocks on Anna's door. When she opens it, he smiles and says, "Hey, Anna, some of us are going to that karaoke bar downtown tonight. It is going to be loud and fun. Do you want to come with us?" Anna freezes for a split second. She really does not want to go. She thinks quickly and smiles back politely. She says, "Oh, Steve, thank you for thinking of me. That sounds like a fun night for you guys." She validates it. Then she gives the vague refusal. "But I have had a really long week, and I am planning on having a very quiet night at home. Maybe just reading a book and going to bed early. So, I will pass tonight, but thanks again." Steve is not pushy. He says, "No problem, Anna. Sometimes a quiet night is exactly what you need. Maybe next time." Anna nods. "Yes, maybe next time. Have fun." She closes the door gently. She did not have to say, "I hate karaoke." She just focused on her need for rest. This is a very safe and polite way to refuse without hurting someone's feelings. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the tone of voice. You can say the right words, but if your tone is wrong, it might sound rude. When you invite someone, try to sound warm and hopeful. When you refuse someone, try to sound regretful but firm. You do not want to sound too hesitant, or they might think you are just saying no to be polite and that they should convince you to say yes. This is a cultural difference in some places. In English-speaking cultures, usually no means no. If someone says, "I can't make it," it is better not to force them. Let us practice a quick scenario where someone tries to push an invitation, and we see how to hold your ground politely. Imagine a gym setting. A trainer named Kevin is talking to a member named Sophie. Kevin is very energetic. He says, "Sophie, you have to join our early morning boot camp class tomorrow. It is intense, but you will love it. It starts at 5 a.m. Sophie is not a morning person. She looks horrified at the idea of 5 a.m. She says, "Oh, Kevin, 5 a.m. is way too early for me. I barely wake up by 7. Kevin laughs and tries to persuade her. "Come on! It is the best way to start the day. Just try it once. I will save you a spot." Sophie needs to be a little firmer now because Kevin is pushing. She smiles but shakes her head. "I really appreciate the offer, Kevin, but I am definitely not a morning person. I would be half asleep the whole time. I will stick to my evening classes, if that is okay." She restates her reason clearly and offers an alternative, showing she is still interested in the gym, just not that specific class. Kevin finally gets the message. All right, I hear you. Evening classes it is. See you later then." This shows that sometimes you have to repeat your no kindly if someone does not hear you the first time. We have covered a lot of ground today, from enthusiastic yeses to firm but polite refusals. We have seen situations in coffee shops, offices, parks, and even on the phone. The key takeaway for you, the learner, is that social English is about balance. It is about being clear about what you want, but also caring about the other person's feelings. Whether you are saying, "I would love to," or "I am afraid I cannot," the kindness in your voice is what matters most. Let us do one final detailed scenario to bring it all together. This one involves a group of people planning a vacation. It is a bit more complex because there are multiple people and different opinions. We have a group of 4 friends: Mark, Sophie, Daniel, and Emma. They are sitting around a table in Mark's living room. They have a map spread out in front of them. They are trying to decide where to go for their summer trip. Mark takes the lead. He looks at the group and says, "Okay, everyone, I have been doing some research. I think we should go camping in the mountains for a week. We can rent a large cabin, go hiking during the day, and sit by the fire at night. Does that sound like something you would all be interested in?" This is a group invitation. He is asking for a consensus. Sophie looks excited. She loves nature. She immediately says, "Mark, that sounds perfect. I am totally in. I have been needing to get out of the city for a while. Count me in." She uses the phrase, "count me in," which is a very common and idiomatic way to accept an invitation enthusiastically. Daniel, however, looks a bit uncertain. He scratches his chin and says, "I like the idea of getting away, but I am not sure about a whole week of camping. I get terrible allergies in the mountains, and I am not a huge fan of bugs." This is a partial refusal or a hesitation. He is not saying no to the trip, but he is saying no to the specific plan. Emma nods in agreement with Daniel. Actually, Daniel has a point. I was hoping for something a bit more relaxing. Maybe a beach resort where we can just swim and lie in the sun? Camping sounds like a lot of work. Mark sees that he does not have a unanimous agreement. Instead of getting upset, he adjusts. He listens to their refusals. "Okay, I hear you both," Mark says. "I didn't think about the allergies, Daniel. And I get that you want to relax, Emma. So, camping is probably a no, then." He checks for confirmation. Daniel says, "Yeah, sorry, Mark. I would love to go on a trip with you guys, just not camping." Emma agrees. "Same here." Mark smiles and looks at the map again. "No problem at all. We want everyone to be happy. What if we compromise? How about we rent a house near the beach? We can still cook together like camping, but we will have comfortable beds and no bugs. How does that sound?" Now, Mark has issued a new invitation based on the feedback he received. Sophie thinks about it. "A house near the beach sounds amazing, actually." Daniel looks relieved. "That would be much better for my allergies. I would be up for that." Emma is happy too. "Yes, that sounds like the perfect vacation. I would love to do that." Mark claps his hands together. "Great. So it is settled. We will look for a beach house. I will start checking rental prices tonight." In this scenario, you can see how important it is to be honest about your preferences. Daniel and Emma refused the first invitation politely by giving their reasons, which led to a better plan that everyone enjoyed. If they had just said yes to be polite, they would have been miserable on the trip. This shows that a polite no can actually be very helpful for a group. So, to summarize what we have learned from all these stories today. When you want to invite someone, use phrases like, "Would you like to?" "Do you want to?" or "I was wondering if." Always give a little context or reason to make it sound appealing. When you want to accept, be enthusiastic. Say things like, I would love to, that sounds great, or count me in. When you need to refuse, remember the three-step soft refusal method. First, validate the person by saying something nice. Second, say no, gently using words like unfortunately, however, or I can't. Third, give a brief reason if you can, or wish them well. And if you are not sure, never be afraid to say, let me check my schedule and get back to you. I hope you have enjoyed these stories and listening to these conversations. Remember, the best way to get better at this is to practice. Try using these phrases in your daily life. Listen to how native speakers invite each other in movies or TV shows. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone understands that learning a language takes time. The most important thing is that you try to communicate with a kind and open heart. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of English in Fluency. I am Alex, and it has been a pleasure guiding you through these social situations today. If you found this lesson helpful, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. We have many more lessons like this one coming soon to help you master your English fluency. Also, if you have any situations you want us to cover in the future, or if you have a question about today's topic, please leave a comment below. We love hearing from you. Keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, every conversation is an opportunity to learn. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.